Welcome to this podcast episode. We stopped podcasting for a little while. Now we're back at it. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcast from. So let's jump in it. What have we done in the last 2 months?
So we own a few rental properties, and we just bought a new one in Las Vegas. It's a 4-bedroom, and we are turning it into an STR, or short-term rental, on Airbnb. It's about to go live in, I'd say, like a week, maybe?
A week.
Yeah. And for the last 2 months, we have been buying everything you need for a house, furnishing it, repairing anything that the inspector found when we were buying it, and coordinating with our property management company on everything that they want automated, and setting all of that up.
Okay, and we have Steve here, right, on this podcast
Yep.
episode. He'll jump more onto the podcast episodes as we're ramping that up. So who are you, Steve? Give a little background.
Well, I'm retired now. I've been a contractor for 40 years, and the three of us have decided to do these rental properties together. What, about 4 years ago now?
4 years ago, and by the way, you are so not retired. You're the busiest, hardest working person I've ever known.
Okay, I'm trying. I'm working at being retired. How's that? It's been very difficult.
Well, you're good at a lot of things. So you were a plumber forever, you've been an electrician, you've been a general contractor, you've built many houses, and so you know how to do stuff. You've had businesses, and you've always kind of been our business advisor and our mentor. Yep. And so we have done a lot of investing with you as a partner, and we've learned a lot from you. So,
well, thank you. That was very nice of you guys.
We love you.
Oh, I love you guys too.
So he's on this podcast episode because we were gone, as you could see on our previous YouTube videos. We were traveling while he was holding everything together. So why did we decide on Airbnb? Why did we go down the Airbnb path and not just any other type of way?
Money.
Yeah, we want to make money. Also,
but we could have made money with a long-term rental. Why do we? We
already have 2 long-term rentals, and I don't think they make that much money.
So
I don't know. Somebody told me we could make $10,000 a month with an Airbnb, so that's why I'm doing it.
Okay.
That number seems to be getting smaller and smaller as I hear about all the fees we're incurring.
It's not going to be quite as profitable as that, but considering what we've been making off of our long-term rentals, it's stable income, and they're a lot less work, but you don't make as much money out of them. So we've decided to try this one, and if it works out, then we will go ahead and add to our portfolio more of them. And Las Vegas is an excellent place to start because there's so many tourists there.
What about the regulations? You read a little bit about the regulations in Las Vegas, right? So what do you?
There's going to be some hurdles that we have to overcome, but Las Vegas does not have a clear path yet on their regulations yet. They are still working on them. Eventually, you'll have to apply and be approved for a licenses, but at this time, they're still in the process. They're just now taking applications, and they don't really have a real idea on exactly how it's going to go. They're getting close, though.
And something interesting that I learned in this whole setting up an Airbnb process is, first of all, in Las Vegas, who runs the town?
Hotels and casinos. Politicians.
Right. And if I have a strong inkling that if a law is proposed for Las Vegas and it's not going to benefit the casinos and the hotels, it probably won't get passed. So I'm saying this because when we were looking for a house to buy, we were not looking at 2-bedroom houses, something that would compete with hotels. And so we were looking for something bigger so that we wouldn't be in competition with them. So that's why we decided on this. I think it's a 4-bedroom, right?
4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, yeah.
So that's something that I learned.
So I think, Steve, you made some research about city of Las Vegas and unincorporated county, right?
Correct. And so the house that we purchased is actually in the unincorporated area of Las Vegas because of the rules and regulations, where the actual city of Las Vegas doesn't allow Airbnbs right now. So it's actually the unincorporated area where they're going to, pass the licensings and the laws that are going into it. But all the communities around Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, they've got rules. Henderson's, they've got rules. Surprisingly enough, the biggest part of the area, Las Vegas itself, has been really slow to jump onto the regulation.
And another thing is, I think a lot of people don't know this, the Strip is not technically Las Vegas, right? It's called Paradise.
The city of Paradise.
Is that true?
I don't know about the Strip, but I know some places are.
Well, Paradise is just kind of an area. It's not actually a city, and it's all part of the unincorporated area like the Strip is.
Okay.
The reason that they did that, I think, is for, building regulations and stuff. There's a special police force that just takes care of the Strip, Metro Police. So they're not actually the Las Vegas police. They're just for that area.
They probably have real interesting nights and weekends.
Okay, so we purchased Airbnb. Now let's get into some numbers of what we thought we're going to spend on it and what we're spending on. So what are some of the stuff that we're like super surprised on, what we thought we needed and what we actually needed?
Okay. Well, we spent $490 on the piece of property itself. We did do some serious negotiations to get it down there. And we have to give credit to Rico for doing that. He stood, he goes, this is as much as we're going to pay for. And he stood to it. No matter what they said, he goes, nope, this is as much as we're going to pay. And they finally accepted our offer. So that was great.
And that was against the advice of our realtor. Our realtor even said they're going to kick your offer down the road.
Right.
And I think it was originally listed for $525 and you offered $490 and you wouldn't budge.
Well, originally they actually put it at for $575.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
they had come down $50 on their own, and then we asked them to come down another $35.
Times are changing. And today's date, just to give you, if anybody's watching this way ahead in the future, hopefully the world is still standing. But today is, I think, the 19th of November, 2022. So real estate is, I believe, and according to data that I've looked at, real estate is heading on a downward trend. So I think that we've learned that houses are worth what somebody's willing to pay for them. And the sellers were willing to give it to us for $490.
So what really surprised me when we bought the property wasn't the purchase price. For me, it was like, okay, we need to get one bed with 2 sheets, right? We'll get one bed, one queen size or whatever we were going to get. And with those, we get two sets of sheets. So when one guest leaves, we'll put the other one in the dryer and that's it. But comes to find out, how many do we need exactly?
We need 4 sets of every piece of linen in there. So every bed has 4 sets of sheets, 4 sets of blankets, 4 sets of comforters,
Pillowcases, mattress covers.
Yeah, everything we have 4 sets of, so that things can be changed around. The management company that we're using, the way they've run the business is that they look at people will be turning this thing around. It will be rented 90% of the time, and they're going to turn it over very quickly. So that's why they need 4 sets, because they won't have time to wash all the sheets there. I guess they take them off-site and they do laundry, and then they bring those back. And that's why they want 4 sets, because, the laundry can't be turned over that quickly.
Another note about laundry, this was a tip that we got from the house cleaners that we're going to use, is that you go to a hotel, what color are the towels and the washcloths?
White or
They're white.
something.
So
White, yeah.
I think we ordered really light color linens originally, and they said, no. People wipe their makeup off right on the towels. And, nobody cares about your house as much as the owner. And so people will just have blatant disregard for your stuff, and they'll just wipe their black makeup all over your white towels and just leave them there. And so they said, nope, return that. Get black makeup cloths, washcloths, hand towels, regular towels instead. So we got a lot of tips like that from our house cleaners, and that was super helpful because they've done this a lot before. This is our first time And so that was helpful.
So these are some of the common misconceptions we had. Were there any more that we had?
This is not necessarily a misconception. We were just talking about this, but when you're setting up an Airbnb, you kind of have to account for a lot of different types of people. Like, I think we have to have a baby crib in there in case somebody comes with a baby. We have to have trundles with the beds or bunk beds in case somebody comes with kids. We have to have a designated smoking area in the backyard in case the renters are smokers. So I think that there are lots of things that we are having to do to accommodate for many different types of people, and it's a lot of work on our part. But I think that hopefully it'll get us some good reviews, and we will be catering to a larger group of people.
So you think it's going to be rented 90%?
From what I'm reading, no. Airbnb guests seem really angry right now because houses are advertised on Airbnb based on the nightly rate, and then when you keep going through the process of getting it checked out on the website, and then you finally get the service fees, the taxes, the cleaning fees, whatever else, all of a sudden the nightly rate is not the nightly rate you originally were looking at. So I think Airbnb is thinking about changing that, right?
They already did.
They did? Okay, so that's good. So yeah, I'm excited to see that because I've definitely rented on, you and I were just in Florida for a month, and we rented, I think, 4 or 5 different Airbnbs, and every time it was like, whoa, the cleaning fee is that much?
Yeah, so I think the cleaning fees, in some contracts, they'll give you a kickback on the cleaning fees, and they make more money because the cleaning fees were listed afterwards, and that's where they also listed the taxes and fees and whatnot. So you're like looking at $100 a night place, and all of a sudden it's $250 just because of the fees. Okay, so how much do we think that this is going to pull in at the end of the day? What are we looking at with this Airbnb?
How many people can sleep there right now?
No, how much do we think money-wise? We're still at the numbers game, so how much do you
but
think?
like let me calculate it. So let me calculate what I would be willing to pay with a group of that many friends. So like, how many beds do we have?
Let's see. We have 1 king bed. We have 2 full beds, and then we have 8 twin beds. So that's 11.
Wow. What about the bunk bed?
I counted those.
Okay, so we can sleep 11 people. I guess
Actually,
2 people could sleep outside on that canopy bed.
Actually, well, there's 2 people that can sleep in the king bed, or more.
Okay, so let's say 12 or 13 people, because 2 people can
Right.
sleep in the queen bed too. So let's say 13 people. If I were going on a bachelorette trip, for example, and a group of girls, and we were like, let's get a 4-bedroom, it sleeps 12 or 13, like, great, okay, everybody needs to pony up. I'd be cool with like $80 or $90 a night per person.
Per person?
So if you multiply that, there's no way. I mean,
It's not going to go that high.
Okay.
We're looking at $350 to $450. I do know that during special times when there's big events going on, the management company has told us that the prices change all the time, just like in a hotel. When you're going in on a big weekend like New Year's, the hotel prices aren't cheap. They change their price. The Airbnb companies, or the management company that we are using, is also going to do that. So I think the range is going to be anywhere from $350 to say $700 on the biggest weekend. And there's going to be a 2-night minimum stay.
and speaking of which, how close is this to the Strip?
Uber ride, I think it's 5 minutes with an Uber.
We're very close to the airport. I think from the airport, we're like 5 minutes. I think to the Strip, I think it was 8 minutes or 9 minutes.
Okay.
So a little bit longer.
And so if I know the Strip, there's a ton of stuff happening, a ton of events, concerts, magic shows, football games, Raiders games. So I think that, and also Formula One is...
Formula One is coming next year. It's a big deal coming here. It's going to be the first Grand Prix that they had. And so it's going to be really booked out that weekend. And I don't know what the prices are going to be then, but I know that they'll all be at some of the highest levels.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it rented. So back to the 11 people. So do you think it's justified to have 11 people stay at the Airbnb for so if you're, according to you, you said you'll pay $80 a night for that place.
That's about
For that-
$700 a night for 13
Yeah.
people,
Yeah,
if my math is correct.
880.
880.
This is why he's with us.
Yeah, that's why he does all.
I
our
think it's
finance.
really reasonable. And I want to describe the property a little bit. So, front yard is super cute. There's parking outside. You walk in, and there's a big living room with tons of seating area. We have a really cool poker table that lights up. We've got dice, a poker set, chips for people to play poker if they want to. We have some really cool artwork. And we've got a coffee bar that's got free coffee, I think tea. It's got a Keurig. It's got a hot water maker. It's got a really cute little neon coffee sign up top, and coffee cups. And then the kitchen's nice. The backyard, we have a nice pool and a hot tub, and really cool seating area outside. We've got a hammock in the backyard. We've got a big table underneath an awning so you can eat dinner outside. I think we have a really nice brand new barbecue, right?
Yes.
We've got a canopy bed. I don't know if I already said that. We have a fire pit outside, a little bit of astroturf. We've got nice landscaping. So this is a really nice property, and I think people could have fun. Let me ask you, what types of groups do you think would want to rent a place like this?
So we have some super small beds in there. For me personally, they're too small. The beds are just too small. I'd rather rent less room with bigger beds, but that's just me. Yeah. What do you think, Steve? Would you rent it?
Oh, I would rent it, but then
Who's gonna?
I would take the master bedroom, and everybody else would have to take the other bed. So, but you know, I have rented Airbnb and I've brought my kids with me, and I typically take the master bedroom, and they don't mind sleeping in. They're young though, right? Mm-hmm. They're young and really skinny kids, and so even if they have their girlfriends, they seem to snuggle up quite nicely. Mm-hmm. They spoon all night, I guess. So
Hey, it's cold Vegas desert nights. So what the groups of people that I think are going to rent our place are, if a group of people from a corporate company come for, I think the Las Vegas Convention Center is about 8 minutes away from our place. So if they're coming for a conference, a corporation could rent out our house and have, 10 people stay there. I doubt they'd have multiple people sleeping in beds together because maybe that's illegal. But bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, big families, ladies' weekend trips, men's golfing trips, or ladies' golfing trips. There's a ton of golfing in Vegas. I know my dad's on a golfing trip with a bunch of guys right now. So I think there's a lot of groups, different types of groups that would want to stay in a big house like this.
So if you're gonna go golfing, and golfing's not cheap, would you really didn't want to have people climbing up the bunk beds and going into the fulls, and what do we have, fulls and twins?
I mean, honestly, if I were golfing, I'd be like, the person that gets the worst score in golfing gets the bunk bed. That's how I'd do it.
I don't think that we'd have that many people if a bunch of guys or girls came. They're not nobody golfs with 10 other people. I mean, typically, when you tee up, there's 4 people at a tee, right? That's kind of the normal.
Yep.
Any more than that, it's kind of taking too long, and the people behind you, they'll want to pass you because it takes too long.
All right, so maybe we won't have golfers.
Well, I think we might have golfers, but I don't think they're going to fill up the
bed.
every bed. So when you take out the bunk beds, the top bunks, the bottoms are the full beds. Any adult, even I would sleep in a full bed. That's not a problem.
Yeah, you could sleep in the full beds, no problem.
Yeah, so when you're looking at it that way, you're not going to have that many people there. And we're not limiting to 10 people. I mean, I am quite sure that there's only 5 or 6 people that are coming, they're going to want to rent our house too, because it's still better than getting several hotel rooms. It's going to be cheaper for them to do that. So they're definitely going to be in it. And nobody fills all the beds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to know how our Airbnb looks, we also have a YouTube video. So subscribe and listen to the next podcast where we're actually going to reveal how much this has made us. We're going to have this conversation a little bit more in depth on the next coming episodes where we're going to see how much this actually brought in, where we're going to list the numbers, and you can actually see how much we actually made. And when we get the link, I'll post it in the description below. So if you want to stay at our Airbnb in Las Vegas, you're more than happy to do so. Don't ruin anything, though.
Yeah, you break it, you buy it.
Yeah, so we have somebody managing our Airbnb, right? What are their job duties, and what surprised you about the contract that we signed with them?
Well, I think they told us up front they would prefer to handle everything after it's listed on Airbnb and goes live. They prefer to handle all the utilities for the house, heating, electrical, water, sewer, gas, trash, things like that. They prefer to have access to the Ring camera that's in the front yard for surveillance and safety purposes and letting people in and out if needed. They prefer to have control over turning the hot tub on and off so people don't turn the hot tub on and leave it on all night and rack up the gas or electric bill. I forget if they're going to handle landscaping and the pool service. I think probably pool service.
The answer is yes.
Yes. So I love that they're going to handle all of that. They're going to take 20% before expenses, right?
Correct.
That surprised me. I think that's a little much. But also, they're going to bring us as close to passive income as I think you can get with real estate. Because when you have a property management company, you don't have to worry about getting phone calls about the toilet being clogged in the middle of the night.
And because most of these things happen when a guest is there, and with a short-term guest, you have to respond immediately. Otherwise, they're going to give you a bad review, and bad reviews kill you.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons that we chose to use a management company, because we already knew that we would not be able to do that. So a management company, they monitor the property 24/7. When something happens, they have a whole list of vendors that they use, and multiple ones of each, multiple plumbers, electricians, housekeepers too. So when something needs to be done, they get it out there, within an hour, hour and a half, or a very respectable amount of time to deal with the problem. And we pretty much have given them carte blanche to take care of any problem at any price immediately. Any long-term repairs, then they would talk to us. But if there's guests there, things have to be fixed immediately.
Is there a limit on that? How much they can spend?
There is not for when a guest's there. We gave them carte blanche. I mean, open up the Platinum American Express, and they're going to go crazy with it.
Oh my God. At least we get points on that, right? Okay, so this is a fun fact. So how are they going to know if guests are being too loud? Because we do not want our neighbors to complain. This is in a small cul-de-sac where families live. How are they going to know if the party's too loud at 2 a.m?
They actually put up noise monitoring, not the type that are listening to you, but they do a decibel rating. So once it goes over 85 decibels, then they shut it down. And I will tell you that's at, we put up signs that said that quiet hours are at 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. So during that time, if the noise goes over that 85, they actually have security that will come out. I think they call you first, say you're being a little loud. If you don't pick up or you don't respond and it goes down, then they actually send a security guy out there and will knock on your door and personally say, hey, you need to quiet it down. If you don't, then they're going to ask you to leave.
Wow.
Okay. So our Airbnb, as it sits of today, what else is left for them to do before people can actually book our Airbnb? What is still done?
I think you have more of the answer to that question. What do you think?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys. What Steve was probably here. What did they say? The management company. What's left for us?
There's mostly it's the field work. The last 30 days, I put together beds. I received. Rico did all the ordering, and I must have gotten at least 150 boxes or more from Amazon that opened up, brought in, or just waited. The housekeepers, they actually put everything away in the drawers and things like that. I just did the heavy lifting. There's things that we still have to have fixed. We have to have a new panel put in to control the pool from a remote location, so that still has to be done. But it looks like everything's going to be taken care of this week. They're going to take pictures. They have people come in and stay there for 2 nights. They take showers everywhere. They sleep in the beds. They just live there, and they use everything in the place.
Can I interrupt you? I'm so glad they're doing that, because in Florida, Rico and I stayed in Tampa at an Airbnb, and it was very obvious on multiple fronts that we were the first guests. There was no laundry detergent. There was no hand soap in any of the bathrooms. There was no dish soap. There was no toilet paper. And so we kept messaging the host like, hey, can you bring over can you bring towels? Do you have any soap? Maybe we just can't find it. I don't know. And the first couple times they kept saying, oh, sorry, yeah, the house cleaners must have forgotten to refill that. But then after like the 4th request, it just became obvious that we were the first guests.
And they also had everything white, the towels, and they had a nice little jacuzzi outside. And walking, they said, oh, be careful with those white towels.
Yeah.
And the white towels got dirty just because there was no beach towels.
Yeah.
And it was right next to like an overpass freeway. That wasn't noticeable when you booked it, right, because it looked like it's a high fence, but that was actually the freeway. So there was a lot of smog. When it rains in Florida, there's smog on the deck from the cars. And so that made like stains on the white brand new towels.
Yeah, so I'm glad somebody's going to stay there and test it out. Another thing I know we have to do is the landscaping. You said that the cactuses are dying and the plants we planted are dying, maybe because they're not getting enough sun, or maybe because we don't have the automatic watering system yet.
Yeah, there's little things. We had a landscaper, and so we noticed that some plants are dying. That's kind of normal things. So we just have to work out the bugs, but nothing long term. I think the biggest thing that we're going to wait for is the panel for the pool. Other than that, they'll take pictures and get it online so that it can start being renting, because nobody's going to have it come up and then book it that same day. Typically, and even if they are, they're not coming. Most people that are coming, are going to be looking for at least 2+ weeks down the line.
Yeah.
We're hoping that, we'll be able to start getting a nice group of people coming in for New Year's, because that's going to be a big holiday here in Las Vegas. We don't expect anybody to book it. I don't know how many people want to spend Christmas in Las Vegas, but
cold.
New Year's they definitely want to
It's cold here. I'm telling you, it's cold.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is supposed to be cold. That's why they have movies called White Christmas out there.
Right.
So does anybody else want to add something before we close this podcast?
I hope we're going to make a lot of money. Please.
So this is for this episode. This was the first episode that we're doing. We're going to have it more often. So tune in, and I'll see you on the next one.